so out of sorts, you guys. This is going to be a ridiculous one. Somehow. We don't even know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting. Welcome back to another Galactic Explorers podcast episode with your favorite channelers, Miss Dallas, and myself, Daniella. The podcast where we take you through the earthly, everyday, metaphysical, spiritual, scientific ideas with the galactic perspective. We were just having a little too much fun with our white screen, green screen backgrounds. Yeah, had some fun revelations this morning. And then we're like, oh yeah, maybe we should actually go ahead and get to that podcast before. So, shall we, Miss Lady?
We should do the things of the
Shall
thing.
we do the thing?
Pick a topic, any topic.
Pick a topic.
Hot, simple. Ooh, that one jumped out of my hand. Okay. Auras.
Ooh. Is it just?
Yeah, auras. That's it.
Cool.
What is an aura to you? What's an aura?
What's an aura? I've always thought of an aura as like you're being able just to see the more or less frequency, energetic field around a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's being generated by the person.
Yeah.
It's like more or less that immediate etheric body field. So there's like those different ones that people seem to have identified that start really deep in and then sort of work their way out. And there's like one, here, and then there's one like 2 feet out, and then there's one like 8 feet out. But I would imagine the aura is just that. Just that. Quote unquote, just that. That's all it is. It's just your energy field. It's fine. You can just see it. Yeah, because it's like seeing a heat wave.
Yeah. But maybe do you see auras? Do you see an aura? How do you?
I have. I don't all the time. But yeah, but for me, it mostly shows up like a kind of a heat wave sort of thing with maybe like a tinge of a color to it, or like a color at the edge, kind of like how this background does, where it's like white around the edges.
Yeah.
But if it was more expanded, it was like, so maybe not white, but sometimes it's yellow or sometimes it's green, but it looks like it's like that see-through sort of wavy heat wave look.
Yeah.
It's see-through, but then at the edge, it's sort of tinged.
Sweet.
For me. How's it show for you?
Kind of the same.
Yeah.
Color. I see, sometimes I see the colors, but it comes in, like you said, like a heat wave, and it's kind of like comes and fades, like, of course, I guess how the person is just energetically.
Mm-hmm.
An energy. So I assume it as our energy field.
Right.
And there's some color and the heat waviness of it. And that's it, really. That's all what I see.
Right. Because I've heard of people seeing actual whole blocks almost of color, but that's not quite how it ever showed up for me.
Right. No. And it's usually like when I see the person, it's usually the top part of the body. Not saying that the bottom doesn't have that, but that's the only part that I ever see is like usually the waist up is
interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now that I say it, I'm like, wait, I wonder why I've never seen the whole thing or what our body wants to show. Or it could be strong, like how strong their aura is or how weak parts of their aura is.
Could be. Because then there's the question is like, where is it generated from? Is it the chakra system?
Yeah.
Then what is the chakra system? Like, really? Like, what is the imagery of that trying to represent? Because the
Mm-hmm.
imagery of it, I think, is representing like an idea on the whole rather than a physical concept. Like there's actually a, you know, if that
Right.
makes
Like
sense.
I look at it like you said, like almost like a heat wave, but like it's energy, right? So it kind of goes this way, this right, like horizontally is
Hmm.
how I've seen the chakra system through the
Interesting.
body.
Yeah.
Then just like here's a bulb, people, like those
Right.
sensors,
Like, yeah,
right?
because there's
Like
an energy center there, but it's not like there's actually a wheel
right.
there. But I wonder
Yeah.
if it has something to do with maybe because like since the symbolism for each one is different, like it has different amounts of points and bits to it, shall we say. It kind of reminds me now of when the have you seen that video where the guy will have a bunch of sand on the speaker
Mm-hmm.
and he does the different frequencies and they go in their different patterns
Yep.
based
Yes.
off of the sound
Yes.
frequency.
Yes.
So it's like I wonder, it's like if the images that the chakras are representing in a lot of
Yeah. What was that?
hey now, hey guys, it's like I wonder if that's what they were seeing, is the movement of that frequency.
Yeah.
And in 2D still, like just seeing it like flat, like a picture, is that, that's how it would represent. So it's not actually almost like a physical thing, but it's like from where a certain frequency is toning out of your body.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The frequency. And
Which then you
how
see represented in the aura, I would imagine, right?
right kind of radiates out, right? So how tuned in are you to like your heart space
Right.
will radiate that area or
So
not
then does
radiate.
that mean is like whatever? So for instance, the people that have a primary color, because anytime anyone's looked at mine, they say there's usually a mix of colors
Mm-hmm.
rather than just a
One
solid
color.
one represented. Whereas usually when you hear it talked about, they talk about as if it's generally a solid color that's represented rather than a mix. It's interesting. But I wonder if that's showing which ones are prevalent
Right.
or which ones need work.
Mm.
Because if you think about it, for instance, the way light works, at least visually on the planet, the reason we see green on the leaves is because that's the color that's missing from the photo spectrum of the frequency that that particular thing, being a tree, pumps
Mm-hmm.
out. So when light hits it, the thing that reflects back is green.
Right. Okay.
Because it's the thing in the spectrum that it's not.
Right. And I never thought about it energetically.
So is it like a 1-to-1 where it's like if it shows green, then it's representative of the green sort of space chakra energy, which is
Right.
that particular frequency pattern? Like it's all representative? Because
Mm-hmm.
of course, like frequency of light is certain colors.
Yes. And
So
those
is it like additive or reductive? Is the aura additive or reductive in function? I wonder.
that's a really good question. Now I'm pondering because I think about like chromotherapy, which is like light therapy,
Right,
right?
right,
So you do the light therapy of what you need,
right.
but then does our body hmm, ooh. I love that we get into this and then we really start like, I don't know, I start downloading stuff and I'm like, go silent. Sorry, everybody. Look up some light therapy stuff and make your own suggestions of stuff. But
yeah, I
that's
mean,
really, I like that idea. And I feel like auras too, like, cheers.
ting.
Uh, where did it go? Where did my thought go?
Uh-oh.
Auras as our energy field. I'm trying to like put it into words. Like I can see like, okay, we expand out of like almost a shield. There, that's what I wanted to say. Like a protection shield, right? Of our body, of our energy, of this. That, where the fuck am I going with this? Holy shit.
I don't know. Just open your mouth and go with it. Phrasing. Sorry.
Man, it's a Monday morning.
I mean, no.
Okay, so auras, we use as shield. It possibly is showing us what we need or what we are putting out. Damn it, Dallas. There was some like hot ticket and the ding cleared it. Fucking hell.
Cleared it.
Oh boy.
Right? Because I've always heard of the auras sort of being maybe representative in what you're strong in.
Right, but doesn't that change though too, right? Like that has to change. I can't see me being one color
all the time.
All the time. And like, of course, it has to naturally change
Fluctuate.
as we evolve and grow and go through different experiences.
I would think so.
Or changes. I like the fact that I think it shows us what we need.
Yeah, I've never actually thought of it like that until we were just kind of talking about it as.
Yeah.
Because sometimes light's additive and sometimes it's reductive.
Mm-hmm. And not all the time, maybe just some of the time, especially those that see it and, you know, like if it comes off strong, they're like, hey, you got this color going on. You're like, oh, okay.
Right. Or maybe, yeah, it's like, for instance, when you weren't seeing part of the field as strongly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it wasn't reflecting out. Or maybe it's reflecting like where your shield is, so you can't see it.
Right. Okay. Ooh.
Or vice versa.
Right. Or the other way around.
Where you don't need to see the bottom because you got that on lock. Be curious to hear what some of the viewers think about it too, because again, traditionally it's thought of as representative of what you're strong in.
Right.
But if physically light's reflective and reductive, like it reflects what it doesn't have in the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you got white light coming out, everything gets absorbed.
Right. It's such a neutral. But yeah, the
for that one color.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Ors. I honestly don't think too much of the label aura because I still see it as my energy field.
Right. I think the aura might just be a tool, like a descriptive tool, kind of like chakra too, where I think a lot of people put maybe more emphasis on certain aspects of what a chakra is supposed to be or is, based off of just like lore and
it's
mythology than really necessary, kind of like auras where it's like, if you can see them, then it's like you're super extra special versus if you can't, or.
Right. And I think that too is kind of BS.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you don't always see them, even though I know I've seen an aura, like auras
Right,
on
they're
people.
always there.
Right. They're always there. So, but how do you think it has to do too with like, okay, you've seen an aura, I've seen an aura, how tuned in we are to the frequency?
Right. Or is it that particular person?
Right. Or the person?
Because there's some people that go around and seeing them all the time.
Right. Yeah. So what state are they in?
Or maybe is it even relevant for a particular person to not or to see an aura? Because if you think about it, if it's all part of the whole uh, law of attraction, synchronicity, mechanic of the universe idea, it only attracts to you what is relevant. So even though your ego brain may hear about a concept and an idea, and you may want it because seems kind of, I wouldn't say fashionable, or like it seems like it would mean that you had made it. Like if you could see auras, it's like, okay, now you know, like you've tuned yourself up enough.
Right.
But what if it's not relevant for you as a tool to see auras, to tap
Right.
into your spiritual path versus somebody else, that it may be relevant for them, so that's why they see it, or only parts of it. It's like I wonder about the relevancy aspect of it all,
Oh, most definitely.
because you hear about it, but not everybody has like attracts to them the use of the same tools,
Mm-hmm.
and the same tools don't work for everybody the same way.
Right. Wow. That just opened up a whole bunch of questions.
So your aura is basically just your energy field representative. But the great question is, representative of what?
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's
Excellent.
been a lot of theories, right? Because there's been a lot of theories.
Yeah. Right. And how, like you said, how relevant is it? I mean, it's important, of course, not just dissing that part of it, but how important of it is to see the aura, or, like, can you feel it? You can feel an aura, right? Because it's
Right?
energy. So some might see it, some might feel it.
Yeah, definitely do more feeling of it than seeing of it, I would say.
Yeah. So like what senses, like our own senses, do we use for an aura? Because could we smell it? Could there be a smell?
Right. That's an interesting thought.
Or hear sound? Or
Yeah.
even taste? I don't know, like maybe someone like is a great cook or something like that, so they have, I don't know. I'm trying to like how to, it's, I don't know. It's a possibility. Like where do our senses come in with that energy filled of.
Oh, absolutely. Because anytime you cook, that, for instance, using that example, it's like you're putting your energy field into that food.
Yes. Oh, yep. Totes.
So you're putting your aura in that food, imbuing it, right?
Don't put your aura in my food. Get out of there.
But think about it. Think
No,
about it though.
no,
Like anytime you go out to a restaurant, anytime, it's like somebody cooks for you, anytime you cook for yourself or somebody else, like your aura is involved in all of these things.
right, it's an expansion of yourself, right? So
Right.
like, yeah, like
Anytime you do anything for yourself or for anybody, it's involved because it's a part of you. It's like Peter Pan's shadow, right? Except that it can't disconnect itself from you.
right.
It could run off and do its own thing, but it's like it's its own thing, right? It is part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you wonder about, it's like, well, if, for instance, if you can't really sense it, then I wouldn't be super concerned, because then it just more or less probably means that it's not relevant for you to sense it in that way, or at least at this moment, because things may change. You may wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden everybody have like a big giant ass halo or light around them. You never know.
Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
I'm doing a podcast right now. Can you give me 10 minutes? Okay, bye.
Babies. It's all good.
Just got done with school.
It's all good. It's all good.
He's like, where's everybody at? I'm like, oh, sorry.
Adorbs. But yeah.
Or yeah, like, I really don't think there's very much.
I know, I feel also like bereft of things to say in a sense, because it seems so
simple.
Yeah.
I think aura is very simple, like you said, because you're gonna see it or not see it. You can be aware of it and feel it and see what other senses that come into play with it.
Right.
But I don't think it's something that, like, if you can't see an aura, then you're not this gifted person, which is
Right.
BS, because I think it's based on the individual, whether you're seeing it or projecting it.
Well, what about the idea that you brought up earlier about like holes in auras, or like a place where it's like some places that, yeah,
like
having holes in the shield?
Yeah, I think having like,
is that something that's like, does it need to be addressed? Is it like a major concern for people, or like is it just a thing where if you're noticing that you're not having a lot of energy come from, or like you're not having a lot of energy at all, maybe to look into your own aura and see.
Right, like
we were talking about the Qigong thing, like where the energy center. Right.
Yeah.
So talk about that for a second with the holes in the shield, and because that's a side of it too that I think people might be.
Yeah, I think they're
curious / concerned about.
Yeah. You don't want to be leaking all over the place.
Right. But it's like, are you actually leaking though?
No, I don't. Well, I think depending. I think,
you know what I mean?
Depending if you're, let's say, you could leak or have an energy leak if there's a part of you that you're not, I want to say confident about, but it's not like confidence. It's, let's just say, the thing that keeps coming to mind is like a Karen, like a talker, someone that just wants to like, well, you did this and you, right? So that's someone who's leaking, who's projecting their shit onto you. I feel is like their throat chakra is probably not in a good space or whatever, in their mind and all the things that they can kind of be. They're toxic, right? They're a toxic person.
I wonder if they're using the throat chakra to compensate for where other ones are loose or weak.
Yes,
because think about it, a Karen does what a Karen does because a Karen doesn't feel valued.
Right. So where do we as a person go up to Karen and go, shut up, Karen? Because if we do that to a Karen, what is a Karen going to do, right? So we have that fear of confrontation, or I don't want to rock the boat with this person. Where
it's just going to validate the Karen and saying that's like, well, of course people don't, take me seriously and think what I have to say is valuable, or it's like, it's because the Karen is a victim.
Karen is a victim, and Karen
so also victimhood held in your body that you're trying to compensate for with other like powers of other chakras, quote unquote. Number 2.
Yes.
Right? I yes, about yes. that. To use the quote unquote Karen as the example.
Right. And if your name is Karen, doesn't mean you are a Karen.
No.
Just an example.
Just the example.
Just an example.
Like, sorry, we all know what the Karen is. Sorry, that was the name that got picked.
There's, I think with that, is Karen just wants to prove she's right, right? She wants to know, blah, 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 that yes, she's a victim and
Well, wants to be heard, right? I mean,
right.
ultimately, they want to be heard because they don't feel like they've been valued and heard, so they like over project themselves. Right.
Right. So then as the person who's receiving that goes, okay, I'll just give you what you want to please you. But guess what? She's going to get an instant satisfaction of that, but she's not going to get to look at her own shit because she's going to get what she wants because that's what she's
right
to do.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's going to take a person who has a strong throat root chakra of throwing it back in her face. It's like, Karen, you can't always get what you want. This is the way, the law of the land, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
I think even if you did that, they would turn it into a victimhood.
Oh, of course they will.
And even if you ignore them, they turn it into a victimhood. So
but
it's nothing you can really do.
Right. That's right. Is it really up to you to take on her or that person's energy of you have wronged them when it has nothing to do with you?
Right.
And it's all up to her, but she's going to leak and throw that shit out there for you, right? Where if you're going to be, okay, I'm going to make sure my energy is plugged, I am full, I don't have any openings, where, I think when you have an opening, it's almost like there's a trigger and then you internalize it. And then you can take it as your own, or you can go, hey, this isn't mine, but I see what she's talking or relating. Right. And how can I look into my own self-reflection of what she's showing me and not take her shit as my own?
Totally.
Now, how does that go with an aura? You're in your own energy field. You're on your own awareness. You're within your chakras or whatever the fuck you want to talk about. Right. I feel like you're in your own field.
Right.
Where you go, oh, my shoulder's acting up, or that bitch, really stressed me out because da 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 da. And they're like, oh wait, I'm gonna start unraveling that. That wasn't mine to hold. She's a fucking Karen. Da 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 da. Like I'm gonna send that back to her. And we look at it through a whole other way, where I think your energy field, your aura is, for me, is okay. I'm solid. And I know we've talked about this before of like, okay, I'm going to check, do I have any leakages? Do I have any openings? Is there any cracks or whatever?
Speaking of releasing a bunch of shit.
Yeah, there you go.
As I just did it, I had to like go mute because I was just belching so much, you guys. Excuse me while I release some shit, I guess. Anyway, keep going.
I think that you just have to be on your part, and you gotta just be aware of your energy field, and that's your aura. If you want, and you can even, for me, if I do come across somebody that is putting up that kind of field or energy of it, I have my own way of like, okay, here's my Pikachu bubble with my electric shock. So you're gonna come, you're gonna get shocked, and you're gonna step back, right? And I don't have to say a damn thing.
Right.
I really don't. I'll let them vent and go to town and say whatever the fuck you want. Go ahead, because guess what? You're not getting it. You're not going to trigger me. You're not going to get the reaction you want to get.
Right.
Because I am aware of what you're doing. I'm in my own energy field of it, and I am in control of my own energy field.
Right, which I think using kind of maybe the ability to sense and feel auras is just like the tool to be able to self-assess, really, rather than necessarily trying to kind of do it for the pageantry of it or whatever. And you can help people with it too, like, if they come to you to, if you can see auras and, like you want to make a healing business out of that. I mean, that's like all wonderful and good, with the idea of trying to share with people, like you're saying, like where they're going to find their triggers coming up, their triggers coming up because of what it's like they're how do I say? It's like the frequency that should be contributing to the overall health of the field is weak.
Yes.
So if somebody can sense that or see that, to impart that to somebody else that's looking for the help to help identify it so they can do their inner work better on it, then that's definitely one thing. But I don't think anybody can really heal it in an end all be all sense for you.
No.
But it's like a signpost or a marker to look at and go, oh, so if this maybe area is diminished within the bubble, if that's how it presents, for instance,
Right.
then that might signify where you might be getting triggered from for like having to do with, for instance, the Karens. It would be that whole probably what sacral and root chakra area, because they're not, and even solar, where they're not confident in who they are, and they're playing the victim role because they don't see their own self-worth.
Right.
And it's being overcompensated for by the ego and the throat. Right? So it's like, it's an interesting diagnostic tool, auras. But yeah, it's not the end all be all of that whole storyline in that sense. Because it's like where you start to see, to start looking, to start digging. And then there's other tools that you bring to bear to sort that shit out.
Right.
And then your shield is like, okay, now we're locked and loaded. And you can be in your field and be cool and not have these, other people's fields affect you. Because that does come up a lot of, for empaths and things, we hear about that a lot, is like, other people's fields affect me. Well, boo-boo, I hate to break to you, but it affects you because you're not holding all your space, as some people say, like holding your space. It's like that's, or like being in your own energy field, or you know what I mean, like being fully conscious, like whatever you want to call it.
Right. It's there, and they're also showing you're in that energy because whether good or bad, you're learning from it. So that person is still showing you what you still need to learn. Right. Right. So they're bringing it to you, and it's like kind of like a test, right? Like, okay, how strong is your energy field? How strong are about this when you have someone confronting you or challenging you?
Right. When you're faced with it, can you hold your own?
Right.
And then you are able to prove that to yourself by having done your tools and done your work and all the things. And then you go, okay.
Right.
So now we're playing at a different level now. Right. It allows you to validate it for yourself.
Yes.
That somebody out there that's being that Karen to you or whatever, like you were saying. Totally.
Yeah. So it's such an interesting tool, I guess, that we have with our physical body.
Right. It's generated by our body.
That we can.
And the connection of our body to the higher self, and like.
Right. And all internalizing them with our chakras and, all that stuff. It all works as one if we just tuned into it and aligned ourselves and became aware of it and not beat ourselves up about it of, oh, I'm not turned on, or I'm not this or that,
or this is low, or that. Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
We are where we are.
Hubby's at the store. Hubby's shopping.
Costco's in play right now.
This is a fracking Monday. I mean, this has like been a heck of a drive, bud. I mean, just to even get onto this podcast today, you guys. Like, because we wanted to do it, but boy, man, like I woke up late, like shit was happening at her house. Like,
hey, it's okay. We're just going with the flow. It's just go with the flow. We're still here. I'm here.
But shit's just happening all around. Oh my God.
And how your energy, let's talk about expansion and out and bringing that shit back in.
Right. And you know how you do that? Laughter. Laughing at your fucking shit right there, instead of going, oh my God, this is a fucking terrible Monday. We should totally try it. And like, we don't even It's like we should totally just cancel it because it's not going, the way that we want it to go, how we want it to go, when we wanted to have it, recorded by, blah, 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 blah. It's like you can let yourself go down those kinds of rabbit holes.
Right. Or just laugh with it and have a good time.
Right, because that's what really changes your energy field. Like you're saying, but it has to do with your conscious awareness of it because you're seeing yourself in the moment. And right. Like, okay, so how do I react to it? And that is also kind of a pretty good barometer as to how a lot of your energy field and your auras and your chakras are doing.
Right. And here's the thing
what you're able to laugh off and what you're not able to laugh off, right?
Right. It's when you get to, I don't say you get to a certain point, but when you become so more aware of it, that when you do expand your field out when you're in public or at work or wherever you are, those people, the Karens, will become less and less in your field.
Yeah.
They're always there.
Right.
But I remember working at a place that I never, ever had to deal with somebody that wanted just to be difficult because I did not allow them to be in my field of it. They would always go to somebody else. I would be clear, wide open, and I would just be standing there, and they'd go to somebody else that was totally busy and not or whatever. And I would just be like, oh, it's fine.
Would you look at that?
Right? So if you really get in tuned with that, there is a way that you don't even have to like have that energy in your field anymore because you won't allow it. Right. And they will know on an energetic level in a weird fucking way, unless there is a point where you guys have to contact through each other. Right. And that's just another reflection.
Right. It's all connected and it's all reflected.
Oh, I think that's funny. And to me, that when I started seeing stuff like that, I go, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. And the same thing applies for the entities that you deal with when if you go into a channeling practice.
Yeah.
Is that, it's like, for instance, everybody's worried about, running across the dregs of the universe, right? With the Ouija board and all the demons and things and stuff, all the terrible horror stories you hear. But it's like, really, if you're right with yourself and your energy field, they can't touch you.
No.
They don't even want to. They don't want to fuck with you. Why? Because they know they can't get what they want out of you. It's literally like dealing with a bully. Yeah. Like it's that's the archetype. It's the bully archetype. Karen is a bully. That's it. Yeah. It's just a new word for calling somebody a fucking bully. That's the same thing. And it's just a particular energy frequency. So if they bump up against your frequency, like you're saying, the people that might have come to bug you or Karen you or bully you while you were working at that place didn't even bother. It's the same with working with entities and stuff like that. It's like those entities won't even bother.
Yeah.
Because Joe Blow down the street has got a way more open energy field and is way more into victimhood mode and will give that entity or that person way more of what they are looking for, the reaction.
Yeah.
The energetic exchange of their reaction. Since you won't give them the time of day. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just reflected potentially physically, visually as the aura. It's just one way I think it's reflected.
Yes, absolutely.
Because all of these senses and things, all of these clairs, like being able to see, hear, smell, it's like they're just sort of like sensory receptors for the reflection.
It's our body aligning with that energy frequency.
Yeah, receiving that information.
Yeah.
It's just another information receiver.
Right. Yeah.
So you can use it as a tool if you want to, but you don't have to like hang your hat on it necessarily if it doesn't come to you, like you're saying.
Yeah.
But it does apply to all these other things, and it can be indicative of other things as a reflection. Curious. I think auras have been thoroughly explored, at least from this perspective, in the sense, because you don't want to put too much weight on it again.
Yeah.
Because it is just a tool. So it's like you can keep hammering the same ideas over and over to death about it, but really working with it is like working with anything else in this pantheon of spiritual stuff.
Yeah. And you just, yeah, that's great. I think we got into good.
No need to make it more complicated because
no.
Because you want to keep it making it more complicated, but it's like there's not really right. No. So there you go. Auras.
That's it. Yeah.
Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. Hopefully they gave you another perspective to look at it, and maybe not beat yourself up so much about it if potentially you're not seeing them, and like you think you want to or need to, or anything like that as part of your spiritual journey. So yeah, if you have any questions about any and all of that we might have talked about while we were talking about auras, go ahead and shoot that in the comments down below. We love hearing from you guys and getting your questions and stuff. If there's like any other clarifying things or aspects about it that you might like for us to go into more, that you particularly would like a question about it answered, like in particular, please reach out to us. We always like having those viewer questions days and things like that, so drop that below. If it was super, if you liked it, it was super helpful, thanks. We love you. Like, subscribe, and share, and all the things. And we'll be playing as we play with our energy field. Yeah, if there's anything about all this stuff, we love kind of answering your questions and stuff, and we could just kind of rap about it all we want. Like that one with auras, but unless there is a specific question from you guys, sometimes it doesn't give us a particular direction to go to even answer a question for you. So if you've got one, write it to us. We'll answer it. We love it. We love hearing from you. Thank you for hanging out with us. We love you, and we will see you next week. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great summer. We're about to get into summer. God damn. Whoop, 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 whoop. Go get some sun. Go play with your energy field. Yeah, put some sun in your energy field. Have some fun.
Ooh, yeah.
I love you, Dallas.